Next up on the list of things that I never thought in a million years that I'd ever talk about in a YouTube video like this, we're going over the Arizona Coyotes and water. Now, before we dive deep into this, let's just establish some of the context. The Arizona Coyotes have been in a really weird spot because lately the rumors of them moving and going over to Utah or whatever, they've been pumping themselves up a lot over the past little while. We're kind of in this transitory period where if at some point the Arizona Coyotes over the next few years find themselves not in Arizona, I think a good chunk of NHL fans wouldn't really be too surprised. And part of this, and in fact I'd say probably a lot of this, has to do with the controversial moments throughout this team's history, and I say history, I mean like the past 3 or 4 years. The not paying the workers, not paying the arena fees, not testing prospects correctly, they did that and they got fined, and then drafting some really bad people over the years too. The Arizona Coyotes have been an absolute mess if you talk about just the controversies over and over again from recent years. So to see two players on the Arizona Coyotes go through this, it's kind of ironic? I mean, I don't know. The jokes kind of write themselves. Let's go out there and look at this clip from the Arizona Coyotes on Twitter. It's a video that Guenther went out there and did with the NHL Network crew. Now, if you don't know Guenther, he's a guy that a lot of Vancouver Canucks fans intrinsically weep about every time they see his name because he's a good young NHL player at 17 points in 27 games played this year, and he happens to be 20 years old. He's very good, and the pick that the Arizona Coyotes used to take him was the Vancouver Canucks 9th overall pick that was sent over in a trade that involved names like Louis Eriksson, Oliver Ekman-Larsson, a lot of Canucks failures over the past few years, so Canucks fans were pretty pissed off about that. But Guenther had himself a video interview, and in the interview himself, he goes out there and admits this gosh darn thing. Essentially, he talks about how he and teammate Jack McBain, who is a pretty good physical presence on the Arizona Coyotes, how they didn't get any water in their house because they didn't pay their utility bills properly. The interview is linked in the description, but I'll also leave a link to this article on ArizonaSports.com. Arizona Coyotes, Guenther has water turned off after he doesn't pay utility bill. Let's go out there and read what the article says because it does summarize what it was that was talked about here. The Arizona Coyotes, right winger, making the most of his time on the ice, yada yada yada. Guenther and roommate and teammate Jack McBain did not pay their utility bill and had their water shut off earlier this week. Guenther said this on the program. I think we're kind of the laughing stock of the team as far as our living situation goes, Guenther told NHL Network's NHL Tonight on Wednesday. The two started living together last year and did not know each other beforehand. The water shut off on us yesterday. We weren't paying the bills, so we got that covered, but no, we have some fun. It's a good time. Guenther then says, I mean, you don't realize how much you need the water until you go brush your teeth and you don't have gosh darn water. They then, on the program, ask, hey, you guys, didn't pay your bill? What happened there? And Guenther says straight up, yeah, we thought the electricity and the water was kind of a 2-in-1, and it turns out it wasn't. Guenther said they didn't receive any notifications, and the two went 14 or 16 hours with no water. Guenther said he and McBain battled through it. They were using bottled water to clean off their dishes. We thought we'd probably have to go a couple more months, and then they shut it off, Guenther said. They shut it off pretty quick, but it's nice to know we got it back on. And here's the thing about this story. You could talk about, these two young dudes did not realize they had to pay their utility bills to get water in the house. But, the funny part is the way Guenther actually says it. The video, I don't know, I don't like using this kind of terminology, but, if you had told me that during that video interview Guenther was high off of something, I probably would have believed you. The guy just had not a care in the world about the story that he was telling. He's just yeah, we did this, we didn't pay the water, we didn't get any water. His speech and everything, I don't know. if that's just how Dylan Guenther is regularly in normal interviews, but man, when he's talking about the water, he's hysterical. Like, that was funny stuff. And part of the reason it's funny, of course, not just because these two teammates didn't pay their utility bill, but also partly because the first replies go out there and say very similar things. The Coyotes ownership knows a thing or two about not paying the bills on time. You had articles posted about it, and yeah, the top comment says team solidarity, just like the regular Arizona Coyotes not paying their workers and not paying their rent fees properly. They're just like us. They're really embracing the Coyotes culture. So not only the Coyotes management can't pay their bills, but their players can't either? Dude, that's kinda, You see why I'm making this video now, right? It's so funny. Like, if this was any other team, it probably wouldn't have had the same reaction. But because it's Arizona and they've already had similar issues with not paying bills on time, it's all the memes inspired into one here. And I will say another thing. When I initially read the article on ArizonaSports.com and I looked at the first comment, I think we're kind of the laughingstock of the team as far as our situation living-wise goes. I actually misread it at first, and I thought he was talking about being the laughingstock of the NHL at this point in time, and I was like, okay, that's a really harsh comment. Come on, Dylan Guenther, you don't have to say it like that. But at the end of the day, you know, the Coyotes, well, they haven't really been doing all too well, to be honest. I mean, guys like Jack McBain are going out there with some big hits and everything, which is nice, but at the end of the day, I mean, this team has only recently started coming back and winning after all those gosh darn losses in a row. They lost a lot of gosh darn games, my goodness. But either way, the Arizona Coyotes and their players have some pretty funny stories to tell when it comes to paying their utilities. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about this very strange, very, very odd commentary on two guys in the Arizona Coyotes not paying their utilities properly. What are your thoughts on the way Dylan Guenther and Jack McBain have played this season? If you are paying attention to the Arizona Coyotes, I personally am, because, you know, Canucks fans were scarred by the existence of Dylan Guenther, and Jack McBain just happens to be a pickup that I had in fantasy. Yeah, no, I'll shut up about fantasy over the next few days. It's already the last day on my entire league today, so yeah, don't worry. We're not going to talk about it anymore afterwards, but yeah, the Arizona Coyotes, man. Interesting stuff. I wanted to go over a few extra memes, too, to end off this video, just because everybody's replies to the Arizona story is just so hilarious. This is an average Arizona Coyotes moment, NHL insider Pacioretty goes out there and says. I guess this is what the Coyotes meant by rent-free. Yeah, okay. That's very funny. Oh my gosh, if you're not familiar with that, then, yeah, kind of catch up to date a little bit with the NHL lore, I guess. Of course, it was Coyotes players, and a quote tweet goes out there and says, "I'm obsessed with how they seem stupider with every proceeding quote." And then included is the "water shut off on us yesterday" quote. "We didn't realize how much you need the water until you have to brush your teeth and you don't have water." You really love to see guys buy into their team culture like this. The Arizona Coyotes have an organizational philosophy and their young players are buying in. Hey, everybody is roasting these guys and the Arizona Coyotes with them, so let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about Guenther and McBain, the way their careers have gone so far, how they play on the ice, how they manage their finances off the ice, and whether or not you think it's funny that they didn't get any water for almost a day. And what are your thoughts on the Arizona Coyotes, too? Thoughts on the situation, how they're going to respond to this, and whether or not there actually is anything to do? I really don't know. I thought this was just a funny video to go out there and make. But either way, thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. 9. And bye.